All right, so I'm going to try to break down trim sheet to the best of my ability for you. Uh, a trim sheet is a sheet of detailed parts that you would need, but they're all in one place and all on one UV to make the footprint of in-game assets less. You could do each one separately and put them all in the same UV, and it would have somewhat the same effect, but this allows you to see them side by side and straight up and down, as opposed to just stacking them next to each other. In this trim sheet, you can do one of two ways. You can do pretty much object to object where they line up perfectly, or you can put a little gap line like I did here. I do a gap between each one. It makes breaking up the UVs easier. And then when you have to hand break the actual model into separate pieces, it also makes it a lot easier to just do this and then delete all the pieces here. And then you'll have what I have here, which is separate pieces. You then duplicate that multiple times, and you have all of your separate items here that are all in the same exact UV, and you'll always have this trim sheet to come back to. I already did the large one, and I'm going to go ahead and do this one while explaining as much as I can along the way as to what I'm doing. So what I did was, first I got an idea of what I wanted to do. I'm making a mansion, so I thought, what are some mansion-esque floorboards and ceiling boards that that I could do to make this kind of sell. It's a stylized game, but still believability is a thing. So I always trust Pinterest when it comes to this. It's the only thing I use Pinterest for. But we go here and just housing exteriors and then mansion interiors. So you can look at each and every single one of these and find ideas for pillars, decor, railings, everything that you might want out of a project that you're making. Floorboards here. And you notice that the thing about a mansion is that while a lot is ornate, the floorboards really aren't ornate. They're very basic and they're just there to, save the rest of the wall, save the rest of the product, the nook, whatever it is that you're floorboarding. So I went with pretty basic designs. Some of them get a little wild and MC Escher-esque, but they're just basic shapes. There's no crazy engraving. There's no high poly model needed here. You can just take this straight into a texture. If you felt so inclined to make a high poly version of this and bake that onto your low poly mesh for in-game assets, that's your prerogative. Knock yourself out. So starting this process here, go up here to the UV, open up the editor, and I've already made this main UV here. It's already unwrapped, unpacked, ready to go. And then I just cut it in half and put it over here. So all I had to do was delete half of this, which is the exact size of my other wall in my uniform grid building. Now for this, what I'm going to need to do, since we already have this, I want to keep this trim sheet. Over here, I deleted all of the interim pieces, like I told you. That's how I prefer to work with trim sheets. And now I'm going to have to duplicate this 7 times to get 8 total trim sheets. And if you don't know how I'm duplicating this, Control-C, Control-V works just fine, but Control-D gives you a direct duplicate. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The rest of this, since they're separate, you don't need to just go through the hard part of like selecting with a lattice. Because they're all separate, you can just double click on each one, making the breakdown of this very easy. We're going to go ahead and right click, go down to faces to select the said faces. Going to select everything that we haven't, or rather the next one in line is going to be number 3, so we're going to shift double click on the face to select the entire object and just hit delete. Go to the next one and continue to do the same. Okay, once all that's done, you're going to notice that each one of these still has its native point of origin here. And we can fix that very easily by holding down D and then left clicking wherever you want your new point of origin. And while still holding down D, hold down right click and reset pivot orientation. Now the problem with this is now when you go to move this, this one doesn't appear to have that problem, so no big deal. But sometimes if you don't delete history after you reset pivot orientation and freeze transformations, when you move this, this will slide along this pivot line. It'll stay on the same line of origin, but the model will either move faster or the gizmo will move faster. But in case that does happen, I'll show you what you have to do to prevent that from happening. You go up to edit, delete all by type, history. Now you want to select everything that you're trying to delete just to make sure. Do the same, and once you have done, also in case you're new to Maya, and well, if you're new to Maya, you're probably not making trim sheets, but if you are new to Maya, maybe switching from Blender or learning in school, to zoom in on your item here like I just did, you just hit F. All right, hold down D, left click, hold down D, right click, reset pivot orientation. We're going to do this for all of them. All right, now that we have all of them, we're going to go ahead and delete all by type again, and then we're going to freeze transformations. And then you go up here to modify and freeze transformations. This is going to make sure that these are all set and frozen the way that they need to be. And to get all of these down here in a pretty uniform fashion, we're going to go over here to the left side and we're going to select our 4 screens. I've got 2 of the same down here because, well, I'm not 100% sure why. But let's select the highest one first and go down to the lowest one so that we can get the gizmo on the lowest one and work our way up. Control 1 will allow you to isolate this model without affecting it on the other screen so that you can see in comparison, or if you want to do the same over here, you can. But we just need it on the front view here. I'm going to bring it right down here because we're going to put it at the point of origin here in a bit. We're going to deselect this one and do the same for this one. All right. Now, the importance of the point of origin is if you bring this model in the position that it's in right now, it's just going to show up when you bring the model in and you want to place it right here in Unreal Engine or Unity or whatever you're using. This one is going to show up this far away relative to the world, and this is where you're going to be able to manipulate it, but your model is going to be all the way over here, so it won't make any sense, and you'll hate yourself building the world that way. All right, we got all these. Okay, now we can start exporting these, and we'll do them one by one, kind of like a conga line. Okay. All right, let's get it perfectly on the Y, on the X and Z, and then let's look at it from the top. Make sure that it's also on the Y. Right here. They line up damn near perfectly. I'm just going to select this one right here. File, export selection. Go to my work, go to my Maya exports. Mansion map. I'm going to go to walls. Let's make a new folder in here called baseboards. Keep it nice and tidy. And always have good naming conventions. SM for static mesh. And we're going to go ahead and do baseboard 01. Copy that because you're going to use that repeatedly. In fact, let's go ahead and go back to that to fix a mistake that I made. Instead of calling it baseboard 01, this is the short variant. So we're going to do baseboard short so that I know what wall it belongs to. I'm going to go ahead and export all of these, and that'll be it. Anything further you want, you can either ask me or talk to somebody else. Look up another YouTube video on how to export it to Painter, how to use Painter, how to then import it into, I can teach you Unreal, I can't teach you Unity or Godot or any of those engines, but yeah, that's a trim sheet in a nutshell.